Shabbat Shalom. I've been asked more times than I can count, so what is it like to have a father who's a rabbi? And more times than I can count, I've answered, well, I don't know. I've never had a father who did anything else. And while this holds true, I don't think it's the real question. I think when people ask what it's like to have a father who's a rabbi, what they really want to know is not what is it like, but really, what is it like to really know the rabbi, to live in his house and eat all his food? And also, so you must be really, really Jewish, right? So when you add the fact that I'm now a rabbi into the mix, it's not even a question anymore. Generally, when folks find out that I'm a rabbi and my father is also a rabbi, and this is even before they learn that my sister-in-law is a rabbi, and that my mom is a Jewish educator, and that my older brother is also a Jewish educator, and my husband is a Jewish educator, and my other brother is a straight-up mensch. Generally, when folks learn that both me and my dad are rabbis, the response is just, whoa. They may still wonder what it's like, but they aren't even sure what to ask. So tonight, you don't have to ask. I'd like to tell you a little bit about what it's like to have a father who is a rabbi, and more specifically, what it's like to have Steve Mason as a dad. There are the regular dad things. For example, his pet peeve is when you leave a pile of shoes at the door. Also, you might not know that he eats the same thing for breakfast every day. And then there are the special things, the things that I assume only happen when your father is a rabbi. As a kid, my friends all assumed that we had to talk about the Torah portion at the dinner table, or that I knew the rules for every holiday. I assure you it wasn't like that. What I do remember is my dad telling our babysitters what to do if someone calls and says that their loved one has died. I remember trying to get around the rules at a youth group event in Buffalo by snidely saying, "Don't you know who my father is?" I got in big trouble for that one. I remember him leaving a family vacation early because of a death in the congregation. I remember Wednesday nights being sacred time with Dad. While our mom was working, we would go out for chicken fingers and French fries. So what is it like to be a rabbi whose father is a rabbi? Well, for starters, I hear him in my head when I'm on the bima. During the Kaddish list, his tone and his pace comes out of my mouth, slow and steady. And I tend to give sermons with 3 endings, too. You know, you've heard it. When you are a rabbi who has a dad for a rabbi, you make a different kind of vacation plan. And Dad, I promise that someday we'll go to Jerusalem and we'll study at Hartman together. While many of my colleagues have had a number of bosses and mentors that they can call on every now and then for counsel, my dad has been a consistent source of rabbinic advice and role modeling. He is there when I have a Jewish question that I don't just think, but that I know is really silly. He is there when I am afraid, like the time I called in a panic before a difficult hospital visit and I didn't know what to do. When you're a rabbi whose dad is a rabbi, you have a place to be open during your vulnerable moments. You can call when you're crying. You can admit that sometimes you really have no idea what you're doing. Because my dad has been my picture of what a rabbi is my whole life, his way has stuck with me as the right way. In his work, he has always stressed the importance of returning phone calls and emails quickly, showing up early, the careful and always difficult balance of devotion to both work and family. But what has stayed with me most deeply, when I think about what I have learned from him both as a rabbi and as a father, is the importance of being absolutely authentic in work and in life. So for those of you who wonder, what is it like to live in his house, to eat all his food, for the rabbi to give you your first driving lesson? Well, very likely, it's what you would imagine. Because when you listen to him preach or teach or play guitar, when he sits with you at your hospital bedside, when he celebrates with you at a family simcha, You are seeing him panim al panim, face to face, in the purest sense. This is a man who doesn't fake it, ever. So what is it like to have a father who is a rabbi? What is it like to have Steve Mason as a dad? I can tell you that I, like all of you, am profoundly privileged. Because in addition to being my father, I get to have Steve Mason as a rabbi, too. Shabbat Shalom.